And oh, we've got plenty of time left. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start the programming. So I'm using Visual Studio 2010, which I got off DreamSpark, which is excellent, because if you're a student it means you get a lot of Microsoft programs for free, and Visual Studio Professional 2010 is one of them. So there are lots of tutorials for you setting up Nfringe, Pixelminer Nfringe with Visual Studio 2010 and then making it work with the UDK, so I'm not going to go through those now. But basically I've already got this solution set up here, and you can see this is the game info class from the game project that I'm currently doing. So what you want to do is in your Solution Explorer or Windows Explorer if you haven't got Visual Studio, you want to, within your development source, which is the root directory of my Visual Studio setup, you want to make sure you've created a file called Scaleform tutorial. Make sure that's exactly the same as the first part of the stuff we set in the configs. And within that, create a folder called classes. This is where we're going to place all of the UScript files that we are going to create. So once you've done that, you want to add a new item to the classes folder, a new Unrealscript file, and we're going to call this one stgameinfo, and click add. So first thing in this file, go to at the very top a class declaration, class stgameinfo extends ut deathmatch, and save it. And then in your default properties block, create a new line. So you should know how to create a default properties. Go to acronym and change that to ST for Scaleform tutorial. We're just going to use this naming convention through the whole thing, and you don't need the colon on the end. I've just got into the habit of typing it. What else? Okay, player controller class. Now, technically, if you set this in the ini, you don't need to set it, but we're going to play it on the safe side. So, player controller class equals class open single bracket, the little, you know what I mean. And we're going to call that Scaleform tutorial dot st player controller close bracket, close quotation mark, whatever, the single arrow apostrophe, that's the word I was looking for earlier. Okay, and we don't need to change the pawn class. We're going to set b delayed start equals false. False, not fleas. This is simply because otherwise I've experienced before. I mean, that may be because I was subclassing from UDK game, but it tends to mess things up. And we'll also set b restart level to false. Not entirely sure why you do that, but it makes it work. And then last but not by no means least, name equals open quotation marks default 2 underscores and then st game info, which is what we called our class. Never really known why you need to add that, but it makes it work, so we'll leave it in there. And for the oh yes, that's the other thing we need to add, the actual HUD class. So we're going to set HUD type equals class apostrophe Scaleform tutorial dot st HUD. Okay, and that's going to be our wrapper class for the HUD that we're going to create. So save that file. And then there's one last variable that you need to change. Because we're subclassing from UT Deathmatch, in the May beta release, to get round the fact that Scaleform wasn't quite ready yet, Epic Games decided that they were going to put in an extra little function, which, if I can find it quickly, basically says it adds an extra Boolean variable to the utgame.uc. I've gone past it, which effectively says if you set this variable, let me just find it and I can talk again. Nearly there. There we go. So this function, generic player initialization. What this uses, it uses a variable bUseClassicHUD, and what this does effectively is, if you don't set that, and that's set as false in UT Deathmatch and all the rest of it, to make it use the Scaleform HUD that you may have seen if you tried to play the UDK without modifying anything. What we're going to do is, in our game info, to make sure that we use our HUD type that we set and it doesn't get overridden, you need to set use classic HUD and set that to true. And what that really means is, it doesn't mean it uses the old type of UI HUD, it just means that we will use the HUD type that's specified in the line above. And that's really the only reason. So, I will see you in the next video.